Honoured to have the opportunity to rise in the House today to debate the Comprehensive Ontario Police Services Act, introduced by the Honourable Sylvia Jones, Minister of Community Safety and Correctional Services. Our government has made it clear since day one that we are committed to making Ontario a safer place to live, holding criminals accountable for their actions and standing up for victims. With the introduction of Bill 68, we have held true to these commitments. The Comprehensive Ontario Police Services Act proposes the creation of stronger police oversight structure, the provision of fair disciplinary processes for police officers, and the strengthening of transparency and training requirements for police forces, which will in turn improve public confidence. The fact is, Madam Speaker, the current rules are not fair for our brave men and women in blue. The previous government did not treat officers fairly. They passed some of the most anti-police legislation in the history of our province. To give you a sense of the hand we are dealt, the heroes who respond to some of the most tragic incidents and save lives of many innocent people often can spend up to 6 months under the eye of the Special Investigations Unit. And 6 months, Madam Speaker, if you can believe it, is considered a quick SIU investigation when compared to others. To provide another example, under the current policy, any officer who is unable to prevent someone from committing suicide is automatically subject to an SIU investigation. After a thorough review, we have identified the main pitfalls of the current system and quickly responded to the bill we are debating here today. Under our new policy, police officers attempting to save a life will no longer be subject to SIU investigations. Madam Speaker, I am happy to inform the House with Bill 68, Ontario police officers and families who depend on them will finally be able to count on a fair and transparent oversight process which will put public safety first. Public trust is essential for police to do their jobs effectively. Public trust hangs on effective measures of police oversight. The system of oversight left to us by the previous government is to say, at the very least, broken. But I am happy to say that, Madam Speaker, Bill 68 will fix this. Firstly, by reducing duplication through the creation of a one-window public complaint system. As was stated by MPP Rashid during second reading, Justice Tulloch recommended that the OIPRD be renamed to facilitate better understanding by the public of its functions. As suggested, the OIPRD would be renamed the Law Enforcement Complaints Agency. The new independent law enforcement complaints agency will handle public complaints, Madam Speaker. Secondly, it will focus the mandate of the Special Investigations Unit. As Minister Jones explained, by repealing and replacing the Police Services Act 2018, the Ontario Special Investigations Unit Act 2018, and the Policing Oversight Act 2018, and repealing the Ontario Policing Discipline Tribunal Act 2018, we have set a new course to develop a better and stronger policing legislation and oversight that works for police officers and the people of Ontario. Bill 68 will make the process more transparent. As MPP McKenna eloquently put it during second reading, Madam Speaker, under the Comprehensive Ontario Police Service Act, the Special Investigations Unit, or SIU, would be established as a fully independent provincial agency in a new, separate act administered by the Attorney General. It is important for a very simple, plain language reason. If you are being investigated, it should be reasonably easy for you to go to the legislation, have a look at the new law, and understand what you can expect to happen. Currently, SIU investigations take far too long to complete. The Comprehensive Ontario Police Services Act will streamline the SIU investigation process, which otherwise would have persisted under Bill 175 and forced many police officers to continue to labour for months or years of long investigations, even in cases where they had no contact with an individual. To refer back to comments made by MPP McKenna once more, our legislation will require the SIU to complete investigations within 120 days or provide an explanation for the delays on that timeline. By treating police fairly, the Comprehensive Ontario Police Services Act will ensure the police, government, and the people of Ontario remain partners in creating a more secure province. Ontarians want fairness and transparency for police officers and for the general public. In December, I joined the Waterloo Region Police North Division for a ride-along to understand the incredible and dangerous work that our frontline officers face every day. What struck me was the prevalence of calls responding to individuals with serious mental health issues. In these instances, just like responding to overdose calls as well, Madam Speaker, police need to know they can act decisively and not be subjected to burdensome and prolonged investigations by the SIU. Under previous legislation, from the Liberal government, police officers were automatically subjected to an investigation when attempting to save a life with naloxone or put under SIU investigation if they couldn't stop an individual from committing suicide. 2 Waterloo Region officers were recently placed under the SIU microscope after attempting to revive a 41-year-old Cambridge woman who overdosed, and they were unsuccessful in unfortunately saving her life. The current system is beyond ridiculous, Madam Speaker. It is not that we are against oversight. We are actually for enhanced oversight, but it has to make sense. In these changes, our government has the full support of Waterloo Region Police Chief Larkin. He argues bluntly regarding our police legislation and its protections for life-saving actions, and I quote, Madam Speaker, "Why shouldn't it protect police officers? Our frontline members should have the same protection as everyday citizens. It's not about shrinking responsibilities, I want to be clear, but we should have some common sense." Madam Speaker, we need a system of oversight that trusts our frontline officers, who know best the situation on the ground and the means to protect our communities. What the current rules dictate for the training of our officers and the governance of our police system does not serve the interest of Ontarians. The current system is failing our province. Bill 68 will improve training and governance. As an early response to Justice Tulloch's report on street checks, for example, Bill 68 mandates that new police officers and special constables receive training in the areas of human rights, systemic racism, diversity, and Indigenous culture and rights. These new training requirements will also be made mandatory for members of police service boards. Our vision for police reform and community safety is not narrow-minded or overly simplistic. The Comprehensive Ontario Police Services Act recognizes the pressures on police officers are becoming more diverse and intense. And I have done my best to understand the pressures firsthand and support our brave men and women on the front line who put their lives on the line to protect our communities every day. In the fall, I met with Waterloo Region Police Chief Larkin to get up to speed on the nature and extent of crime in urban and rural areas that affect Kitchener-Conestoga. And this includes increasing gang activity, spiking violent crime, and police officers that are dealing with repeat offenders. I am pleased that our government is taking concrete action on these underlying issues, such as record investments of $3.8 million in mental health and addiction funding, while supporting concrete initiatives to support low-income individuals. This includes eliminating the provincial income tax for minimum wage earners, creating more apprentices in the trades, and ensuring students receive free tuition grants. However, we should never forget that despite these initiatives, individuals will continue to join gangs, commit violent crimes, and prey on the most vulnerable in society. Too many people and too many neighbourhoods are living in fear of gang and gun violence. And too many people and police officers are paralyzed by our court systems that have left far too many arrested criminals back on the streets the next day. And with that, Madam Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 48, I move that the question now be put.